Ladies and gentlemen, I spent my entire adult life in the company of criminals. In fact, a good part of my teenage years as well, in the company of criminals. And for that reason, the RCMP decided they would recruit me because they felt that I had some skills that they could use.
I've seen Chris speak many, many times. He is an absolutely dynamic speaker. He's full of energy. He just radiates charisma, and he knows what he's talking about.
Here is a man with this long history of working in an area where none of us have been able to experience it, and it's fascinating. I mean, we call him, he hates it, but we call him the James Bond of Canada. I mean, he hates that, but that's the only way I can sort of describe it.
No, Chris is most unconventional because he brings to the podium his own experience. To use the vernacular, he's been there, done that, and bought the T-shirt.
Okay, guys, take the dessert fork. You know, the old joke, take your hand, put your hand like this, put the dessert fork over your eyes. I say, okay, you don't listen to what I got to say to you. This is the view you're going to have for the next 10 to 15 years.
He really has the ability to bring people to that story. And it's not remote, it's not arm's length. You feel that you are right there with him in that context.
And this is the problem, ladies and gentlemen, is that because of the regulatory framework, bad people, their money still has to flow. Every time a bad thing happens that generates money, that money has to flow. It has to be laundered. And the fact that we have legislation makes it difficult. When I laundered money for the governments of the United States and Canada, and when I laundered money for drug traffickers, I used to charge them around 8 to 10% to move their money, plus a substantial foreign exchange piece too. Made $37 million in my first year. That went into the general revenue account, and you all got 1 penny off your income tax. 8 to 10%. Go and see someone like me now, today, here in Quebec City, and he will charge you north of 20% for that. Why? Because it's harder to do.
You know, I think that the most you should pull out of this is 100 US, or you're going to get just smacked. Also, we start moving these large amount of cash around. This is not the time when you need heat.
Every time we do it, we're breaking.
Well, yeah, we're breaking banking breaks every time we flip it, but maybe you should start your own kind of like little mutual fund here. You get these guys to invest, right? This has got potential. We get a mutual fund running. Okay, we set it up.
So Chris can take very complex issues and tell the story about those complex issues in very meaningful ways, simple, straightforward ways, but ways in which people get it.
How many people in the room, by the way, have ever bought a stock without knowing exactly what the company did? Come on, be honest. Before we go farther, day traders. You know, we're going to talk about scams here and people forcing the price of stock up and down and how they do that. I was talking to some day traders the other day, and some of these guys are pretty smart, and they watch the market, and they can pretty well smell the scams, the washes, the shorts. And I said to the guy, you guys watch out for these kinds of things? Are you concerned about that? He said, no, we really like them because we follow them. We see a fraud, we know. We'll just play it. We don't really care about the stock. It's sort of like gambling. And a lot of guys are making a lot of money just following these trends.
Is Canada really at that much risk as, let's say, our neighbors to the south right now?
Prior to 9/11, the most significant terrorist act in history took place here, or started here, which was the Air India bombing. We are also the host of all sorts of American multinational corporations. And we are a target, notwithstanding what most Canadians think. Overseas, they don't discern that much of a difference, particularly in the Middle East, between Canada and the United States.
Yes, Chris has been likened to being a human chameleon. He's very good at picking up on the environment, picking up on the culture, and he's a man of many faces. I mean, when you see him talking a language other than English, he almost takes on the persona of that national character. I mean, he's totally fluent in French. He seems to be able to hold his own in Italian, in Spanish. He claims he can speak Mandarin. I mean, he can certainly order a meal in a